Welcome to the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. Get ready to be inspired, uplifted, and connected to the miraculous energy of unconditional love that I call Mother Mary. If you're a highly sensitive, highly creative entrepreneur or light worker, and you want to magnify your impact and your intuition, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Reverend Frances Faden, interfaith minister, intuitive coach, and author of Meditation is Friendship with God. I can't wait to share miraculous stories, books, meditations, messages, and interviews with other miraculous light workers just like you. Are you ready to magnify your miracles? What are we waiting for? Let's get started. Hello, my miraculous friend. Welcome to another episode of the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. This is Reverend Frances Faden, and I am so grateful that we get to spend this time together helping you magnify your miracles. And whether you are brand new to the podcast or you've been listening for a while, one thing that you will know is that I love books. I love sharing books that are awesome with you, books that I know can help you magnify your miracles. And I'm going to share a really, really special book with you. And I'm so excited to share with you that you will get to meet the author of this book next week. So this book, that is just, I could spend every episode from here to the rest of my life reading you this book, and I would probably never even uncover everything that's special about it. It's called Healing Journeys with the Black Madonna, Chants, Music, and Sacred Practices of the Great Goddess by Alessandra Belloni. And I have to say her name that way, Alessandra Belloni, who I love, and I'm so excited for you to meet tomorrow. And she really put together such a powerful and special book of her own journey and how she came to discover the path of the Great Goddess, the path of the Divine Feminine, the path of the Black Madonna. And, you know, this book was so rich, and it is so rich, that I was really wondering, oh, Divine Mother, how am I gonna share this book in a meaningful way with people to help them really get a sense of it without reading them the whole book or without leaving out anything that's really important? And so, of course, Divine Mother told me what to do. She told me what she wanted me to share with you, which is what I'm going to do. So before we do any of that, let's take a deep breath together. Get ourselves grounded and centered. And just by focusing on our breath, we immediately bring our awareness back to our body temple, back to this moment. Both of those things bring us into the presence of the divine. And knowing that whatever you need to hear today to help you magnify your miracles is exactly what you're going to hear. Let's take one more deep breath together in gratitude, and we can begin. So I took this book and I opened it up, this beautiful book called Healing Journeys with the Black Madonna. And Alessandra really shares her own journey with us. I highly, if you're a fan of Mother Mary, if you're a fan of the Divine Feminine, if you want to understand the Great Goddess, I really recommend that you get this book. There's a link to it in the show notes, but I really recommend, if you really want to get into it, listen to it on Audible. And you can go to francesfaden.com/Audible, and you can get a free 30-day trial of Audible. And then you can get, I think, 1 credit. You can get this book. But hearing the book read by Alessandra herself with her beautiful accent is nothing like it. You'll be transported to these places. So forgive my voice in reading this to you. But I asked the Divine Mother which one she wanted me to read to you. And I opened it up to page 194, the Sanctuary of the Black Madonna, with these beautiful pictures of these beautiful Black Madonnas that are all in southern Italy. Now, I need to tell you that I have been having encounters with the Black Madonna over, I would say, the last 1.5 to maybe 2 years, coming in the form of Divine Mother as Kali, coming in the form of the Black Madonna as Mother Mary. And I was so thrilled earlier this year to find that the Black Madonnas, that there are 7 of them in southern Italy. They're called the 7 Sisters. the 7 Black Madonnas of Southern Italy. And, my mother's side of the family is from Southern Italy, not necessarily in Sicily, but still very much that Southern Italian energy. So when I saw this, her work is just amazing to me. It gives me goosebumps. So anyway, I had opened it up to page 194, and it was all about the Black Madonna of Tindari. I think that's how you pronounce it, Tindari. And I said, oh, can I just start reading from here? But then I saw that we really needed to give you a little bit of backstory before I read you this. So this book is really the life story and the journey of Alessandra Belloni, and how beautifully she weaves together her own life experience, the history of the place, the myth and the legend of the place, which is a big piece of it, the healing power of it, how it's so healing to connect with the Black Madonna, especially these Black Madonnas that are in Southern Italy, through creativity, through dance, through chant, through music, through drumming, all this powerful energy, how connected it is to Africa and the energy of Africa, how it's been woven into the energy of Southern Italy and into Europe, and why this energy is really coming forward and how it's been so healing for her. So her whole healing journey is in this book, and I'm not going to go into all of that. She's going to tell you some of that when you get to meet her next week. But this is actually chapter 7. And the title of this chapter is Nigra sum sed formosa. And the translation of that is I am black but comely, the African mother. And then she wrote a beautiful song, which is in, first part is in Latin, and the second part is in English. Nigra sum sed formosa, Ave Maria, Magna Mater, Stella Maris, Gratia Plena, Regina Caeli, and Refugium Peccatorum. And the translation of that is, I am black but beautiful. Hail Mary, Great Mother, Star of the Sea, full of grace, Queen of Heaven, Refuge of sinners. So at this point in the book, in the story, Alessandra is traveling and she's learning more about the Black Madonna. She's originally from Italy, and then she came to the United States as a young woman, and then she goes back to Italy every year, and she leads these beautiful pilgrimages, which I hope to go on maybe next year or so. But she's been discovering these Black Madonnas and what they have to tell her. So this is on page 188. My continuing travels and adventures in Calabria led me to the beautiful land right across from Reggio Calabria, at the end of the Italian boot, the volcanic island of Sicily, known as the island of Demeter and Persephone. I was immersed in my research on the Black Madonna, studying the inspirational book by Ian Begg, The Cult of the Black Virgin, which to me remains the most accurate scholarly book on the history and meaning of the Black Madonna. The book was given to me by a dear friend and artist from my group, Alisa Megaretti. In the summer of 1988, inspired by that book, Alisa and I decided to travel to Sicily to visit the sanctuary of the Black Madonna of Tindari, a very important Black Madonna mentioned by Begg, located in a powerful energetic spot where the mountains meet the sea on the Black volcanic island. Alisa had previously traveled to Brazil and had gone to ceremonies for Orisha, the goddess Yemanha, goddess of love and the sea in the Afro-Brazilian Yoruba tradition. Together, we felt as if we were being called to go deep into the connections among the Black Madonna in southern Italy, the Orishas in Brazil, and the African Mother. So I'm just going to stop right there and let you know that that's one of the things that's woven throughout this book, is all the different connections of all the divine mothers from all the different lands, all the goddess traditions. That's why this book is so amazing. Okay, and we continue on. We decided that we would go visit our friend Roberto from New York, who had invited us to the island of Pantelleria, called the Black Pearl of the Mediterranean due to its stunning black volcanic coasts. It was the beginning of many magical experiences of initiation at this spectacular location. My first trip with Elisa was full of tests from the Black Madonna. We took a boat from Naples to Palermo and then made our way down by train, not realizing that as two young, attractive women, we would draw a lot of attention. I personally had not realized how different Sicily was from Calabria. In a way, it was more Muslim than Catholic in mentality regarding women's freedom of dress and expression. We found this out at our own expense on the way back to Rome when we rented a car to avoid the trouble of being on trains and boats, only to realize that we were being followed on the highway. We took a bus to the Black Madonna Sanctuary from Messina, winding along the wonderful coast to go upward the mountain of Tandari, near the coastal town of Patti, and past the famous port of Milazzo. We always had men following us, and it was very difficult to get rid of them, but thank God that my experiences of living many years in New York, especially in the dangerous 1970s, proved very helpful in protecting ourselves. We decided to begin our pilgrimage at the bottom of the mountain by the sea, going through a cave where the Madonna was found, according to legend, lost in the mists of time. We got off the bus in the blistering August noontime heat. When I think back, it seems obvious that we were guided to change our initial direction, to begin at the bottom of the hill at the Saltwater lakes instead of the top where the Black Madonna now resides. Top of page 190. The sacred saltwater lakes of Marinello. I thought that we should begin our pilgrimage there at the lakes by taking a purifying bath in the beautiful clear waters. It seemed like everything around us was enchanted. It was hot. We were sweating as the harsh noon sun beat down on us in 100-degree heat. We then saw a grotto, a tunnel in the rocks, and decided to walk across to cool off. It was like entering the tunnel of a shamanic initiation, even though at that time I was not aware of what that meant and was simply following my intuition. At first, we walked in silence, entering the dark, narrow path under the mountain. And then I started singing and heard a strong echo. Another magical point of the earth was embracing me. As we left the grotto, we saw the shining, glimmering water of the salty lakes, and it seemed natural to go swimming in these sacred waters by the beautiful turquoise sea. It felt as if we were doing a cleansing ritual before seeing the Madonna. No one was around. The place was deserted, and we were completely bewitched by the green, glittering water. As we slowly entered the lakes, we felt our feet go deep into the black volcanic mud, and we saw our skin glow with the same light shining over the water. The warmth of the water seemed healing and made our bodies feel very light, and the mud under our feet felt like the earth's womb opening to us. We felt embraced by the Mother of Waters, Venus, goddess of beauty, love, and sensuality, much like Yamana and Aphrodite. The green water seemed like a mirror, the mirror of Ochun, the goddess of love and sweet water from the Yoruba tradition from Africa. I took my ritual bath that day without knowing that I'm really a daughter of Ocean, the Orisha who protects all rivers and lakes, goddess of sensuality and sexuality, eros and dance. She, like me, loves honey, gold, and all that shines. After all, my father had baptized me in the Tiber, the river of Rome, during my initiation at birth. I remember that Elisa and I laughed like little girls, entering a kind of ecstatic state, proudly like women priestesses did in a pre-Christian time when they led rituals of purification before the actual mysteries of the goddess. We floated on our backs in amazement, looking up at the sacred mountain, knowing that the Black Madonna was up there in her majestic sanctuary. We sang in harmony one of the Black Madonna songs that had been part of our Christmas show and felt an incredible resonant echo coming back to us from the mountain, as if we were amplified. I had not seen the statue of the Madonna yet. All I had read was that the name Tandari was from an ancient Greek settlement. The Laghetti di Marinello and the surrounding beach are a natural reserve, and all around was very quiet, even though it was peak vacation season in Italy. We stayed in this enchanted place for several hours and then took the bus up the mountain to pay our visit to her, the Black Madonna of Tindari. Knowing that she was one of the most ancient and magical, given a powerful spot on the earth where she was found. I knew that one legend said that the Black Madonna had arrived in Tandari in ancient times on a ship during a tempest. She was miraculously washed ashore, saving all the fishermen who were on board. Another legend says that during the fierce storm, the ship was magically pushed towards the Bay of Tindari, where the water is always calm and the boat could not sail until the sailors left the Black Madonna statue there. Some legends say that she came from the Orient, but it is mostly believed that she came from Egypt, as she resembles an African totem. Before entering the sanctuary, we looked down at the stunning view over the sea, across from the volcanic Ilo or Alion's Islands, also known as the Seven Sisters. We could see the beautiful shape of the strip of sand and the formation of saltwater lakes. To our astonishment, it was a silhouette of a woman praying. Legend says that a woman came from far away to pray to the Madonna, but when she saw that the Madonna was black, she did not believe that she was Mary, Mother of Christ. At that moment, her little daughter, playing outside the church, fell from the high cliff down to the sea. The Madonna created a miracle and made a strip of sand appear to catch and save the little girl. This miracle was the origin of the saltwater lakes. Those magical lakes change shape, but they always have the silhouette of a woman. In my prayers, I asked the Madonna Nera to please let me see her in all her aspects and to understand her deeply and to guide me in this journey that would help me unveil her mysteries and bring them to the world with my music. Again, I felt her telling me that she was alive, shifting, conceiving, thinking, but that people today had forgotten and did not respect her as they had in ancient times. In this sacred place, which is now a nature reserve, Mother Nature is untouched, and the clarity of the sea is proof that the elements here have never been altered. Okay, so now I'm on page 194, which is the page I opened the book to. This is where Mother Mary wanted me to share with you. The Sanctuary of the Black Madonna. I entered the beautiful sanctuary atop the mountain, overcome with emotion, and slowly walked towards the large statue of the Black Madonna, held by two black angels, suspended high up over the altar. There she was, very powerful, looking like an African queen. Her dark black face was very serious, her eyes almost closed or looking down at us, and very peaceful. Sitting on her throne, she was holding a black baby Jesus with the face of a grown man. She held a lily in her right hand, the sacred flower of the goddess. Under the statue was the beautiful inscription in Latin, Nigra sum sed formosa. The statue in 1988 was the original, made of cedar wood before she was sent for restoration. She wore a red dress and a white cape, both embroidered in gold, and held a lily made of gold and silver. Baby Jesus had a white and gold tunic, with his right arm raised in a blessing of peace to the world. The Black Madonna also had a crown of solid gold with many jewels. I realized later that the restoration actually brought her back to her ancient image, where she wears a long, conical headpiece very much like the goddess Cibil or Cibele. As I walked around the church, I saw to my astonishment that the story and the legend of the Madonna of Tindari was clearly depicted on the walls and showed that she was brought by the devotees to an existing temple of Cibil, or Cibele, the earth goddess, which had been there since ancient Greek and Roman times. This was a surprise in such a powerful Catholic church. I felt something intimidating radiating from the beautiful statue, and to this day, every time I go there and stare at her, I meditate and ask her, "Where did you come from?" She is suspended above us, as if telling us that she has come from heaven to help us, to save us, to nurture us, and protect us, held by angels like an image of the Assumption of the Virgin. Yet I felt that she also represents the archetype of the African mother. The first day I saw her, my emotions were a powerful mix of veneration and respect, along with an inexplicable intimidation. I had just begun writing the opera dedicated to her, and I knew that she would be a crucial part of the journey as I was writing about Virgil and his initiation in the mysteries of the goddess. I needed to acknowledge her roots in Egypt, Africa, and the Song of Solomon. So I continued studying and going back to Tandari to see if what the book said resonated with me and my personal experiences. Although some theories as to the Black Madonna's origin say that she came from Egypt or Ethiopia, others suggest she came from the Orient and is a Byzantine statue from the 7th century. Being so close to Africa, I felt that this theory of her coming from Egypt and her close connection to the Queen of Sheba was the most logical. That first time in Tandari in 1988, I lit candles and prayed to receive her divine inspiration, to write a beautiful opera in her honor. I lit candles for my mother's health. I knew that one day I would return with other musicians and share this stunning place of devotion with other artists to create beautiful music for her and for her devotion to her, the sacred earth and the waters around her. Magical experiences in Tandari. This spectacular place in nature became a strong part of my devotion, as it has been for thousands of people for so many centuries. I experienced beautiful moments of awakening on the sacred earth where the Black Madonna resides and the healing waters where she was found. In 1994, the same year that John and the flutist Susan joined me in Calabria, we traveled to Sicily to visit the Black Madonna of Tindari. Heeding my traditional ritual of purification, we first bathed in the precious Laghetti di Marinello at the bottom of the hill. We began to sing Nigra sum sed formosa, the prayer to the Madonna that we had written for her. Susan played her flute. Suddenly, in the midst of a stiflingly hot day, the wind began blowing. We heard a voice in the distance, chanting, which then became the voice of the flute played by the wind. It came from the mountain high above where the Madonna resides on her throne. The flute was playing itself. Susan was astonished, but let the wind, instead of her fingers, play the melody. It was a haunting, beautiful melody that she still remembers to this day as a transformational experience that affected her life in many ways. We were all in a state of ecstasy after the experience of the face of Jesus appearing on the tree trunk. Now we had the blessing of hearing the voice of Mary in the wind. Once again, we felt embraced by God and the Divine Mother. These blissful moments expanded our creativity and inspiration and guided John and me to continue to write songs and music for the Madonna and for Jesus as featured in our Easter opera and Passion play, Stabat Mater Donna de Paradiso. We premiered this production in 1995 at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine, the year after these two supernatural experiences. So I'm actually going to stop there because I could go on and on. I love this story, and it's so fascinating to me how so many miracles. It's like one after the next, after the next. Every chapter of this book is filled with miracles. And one of the things that's so powerful is how much music and creativity and dancing and joy is so integral to the path of the Black Madonna and how healing all of that is. And I'm so excited to share all of that and more with you next week when you actually get to meet the beautiful and wonderful Alessandra Belloni, author of this beautiful book. I have put the link to the book in the show notes for you. You can go to francesfaden.com/podcast and you can click on the page there. And that's where you'll find the episode in the show notes for those who want to read the show notes. And there's also a link. You can just go to francesfaden.com/audible and you can get your free 30-day trial of Audible and get to listen to this book. I highly recommend that you listen to this book. It is truly, truly remarkable to hear her story in her own voice. I'm so curious if you've ever had any experiences with the Black Madonna or your own mystical experiences. I love hearing about it. It's one of my favorite things. feel free to leave me a comment if you would. If this particular story resonates with you, please feel free to share it with your friends. I want everybody to know about the beautiful energy of the Black Madonna and the powerful healing energy that's available, especially to women, not only to women, but especially to women, that we have that power within ourselves that we can heal. Such a powerful energy to have a vision of the Madonna, to have an image of the divine that looks like us, that feels like us, that is us. It's really powerful and very, very healing. All right, my friend. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember that the key to magnifying your miracles is knowing that your miracle is already here. God bless you, and we'll see you next week for this beautiful interview with Alessandra Belloni. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. I'm so grateful to be able to spend this time with you. If you want even more inspiration, feel free to visit my website, francisfaden.com or magnifyyourmiracles.com. And if you did enjoy this episode, I would really appreciate it if you left a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever it is that you connect with awesome podcasts. Remember, the key to magnifying your miracles is remembering that your miracle is already here.